Welcome back. This is By the Book, and we're your married relationship coaches. I'm Sent.
I'm Sil.
And today we are talking about Married at First Sight, Season 17, Episode 6.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we can try to unpack what's going on with Lauren and Orion. Mm-hmm. Of course, last week we did the video on them and how poorly, I guess, their relationship took a turn for the worse.
It did.
With the comments or the comment that Lauren made to Orion. Of course, it was, very poorly said, very untimely, just, all unfortunate.
Very.
But in this episode, at least in the beginning, we're seeing Lauren really, I think Lauren, pretty much on her part, really reaching out to Orion and trying to make amends, sort of, and trying to get past it. They had a really awkward conversation. I think they were at a pool, where it just was uncomfortable. You could tell that Orion was still
in his feelings.
Yeah. I mean, for lack of better ways to put it, he definitely wasn't over the situation. I do feel like he is the type of person who's going to try to handle something with some amount of decency and grace. And, as he was saying, I didn't think that I was going to be able to speak to you respectfully, so I removed myself from that situation. You can see a lot of hurt in Lauren's face. I feel like she's feeling like, dang, I just ruined this. And I don't think if it can recover from what just happened.
She said that.
And because she's so committed to the process, even if it's not him per se, she still wants it to work. I feel like sometimes in these reality shows about relationships, it becomes more about, like, I don't know, some sort of weird victory that you're trying to get by being successful, rather than the actual relationship developing. And I kind of sense that with them both in what I was saying last week about them both being very committed to the process, and not necessarily to one another and to that marriage. So, I mean, did you have anything for the way that Lauren reached out to him?
I did. I saw exactly what you saw. I think she was trying to make amends. She was trying to put her best foot forward as far as trying to heal the relationship, so to speak. If you want to call it a relationship, they just met each other. And so I think she was trying to do what she could to foster the relationship going forward and not staying in that particular situation and having those feelings. She knew she messed up. And so what do? We know we messed up. We kind of try to, let's just try to get past this. Please give me some grace. Please forgive me. That's not my heart. And let's move forward. And I think she was doing everything she possibly could.
She was. I don't know what else you can do in a situation like that. It's like either you do kind of fall on your sword, do as much as you can to make amends, or you just throw your hands up and be like, well, forget it. You're not going to budge on go to work. And, I did what I could. I said, I'm sorry. And that's that. But I would have liked to see something in between where she didn't have to completely give herself, not give herself up, but like, I didn't feel the reach back out from him.
Oh, no.
And I would have liked to have seen him do that, because I honestly feel like that is the only way that this situation could really remedy itself. Because otherwise she's going to continually be chasing, like, oh, are we okay now? Did I do enough? Did I make up for what I said? And it's never going to get there. We're never going to feel like it was already, I didn't see much chemistry between them anyway, but now it's even less. And again, I mean, Orion isn't necessarily saying the wrong things. Of course, until we get to the end of the episode, he's not necessarily saying the wrong things. It's just that his heart isn't in it.
No.
He's going through the motions. And she, I think, somehow in messing up, in misspeaking or, saying something insulting, she has put herself in a position where she's even more somehow emotionally invested.
She's trying.
In the relationship more than she was before, So it's a little awkward for me. And you guys let me know what you think about, like, what is your read on how she's behaving She definitely seems to me like she's overdoing it. She's trying to oversell it.
Yeah, she's
laying in
overcompensating.
his lap. She's touching his leg underneath the table. It's just a lot of effort on her part.
I totally agree with you. I mean, she's overcompensating, trying to make amends for what she said.
Yeah.
And what can you really do besides, hey, I'm sorry, can we move forward?
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with
Right.
you.
Can we wipe the slate clean?
Yes.
Can we pretend like, we just met each other today?
Yeah.
But they're not doing that.
No.
She's chasing. She's chasing.
So yeah. And I don't know. I mean, for someone who just, for their time frame, who just said, Orion, saying, hey, we're just gonna go at it and we're gonna talk things out. He's talking real huff and puff at that particular time, and then here he is, the rug is pulled from under you. Now talk it out, buddy.
And they're talking.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't feel like the connect is being made. They're having the talks. They're saying the right things. Yeah. He's even saying the right things. But you don't feel like it's over. You feel like there's something there that is just palpable.
Yeah.
That's not going away.
Yeah.
And like I said in last week's video, I don't know if he was just looking for a reason to not like her, but she gave him a good one. She gave him a real good one.
Yeah.
But I hate to see somebody struggle through. We've seen this before in different episodes, or not episodes, but different seasons, where somebody is kind of like chasing the whole season, and it's very uncomfortable to watch.
The power dynamic is
it
totally
leads them to their breaking point, and that's what's going to happen with her.
Yeah. And I, from the standpoint of what we're seeing right now, if he doesn't budge, she's got to know when to kind of like say,
never mind, know when to walk away.
Exactly. And you all who have followed us for a while, I'm very slow with that. And I don't like divorce. I say stay committed, within the commitment, just like what they've been trying to do. But for someone who you just met, and this is a television show, hey, don't let him run you through the ringer as well. Don't let him tear down your self-esteem in the process, you know? So you are a person, he's a person, and everybody makes mistakes, and everybody says things that they should not say, that they're going to regret. And she's very remorseful. Take that and then build on it. I don't think, her having to chase him and all of this different type. She's shown that she's sorry for what she said.
Yeah, and like she said when they were in that pool, nothing was said out of malice. And I think if he could take it from there, if they had the proper the proper amount of initial chemistry, right? Maybe that could have happened. But something was off from the beginning. And it ain't gonna get on.
That's true.
That's how it feels.
But
me.
that's with couples in general. When we meet who we think is the ideal person, physically and socially and mentally, whatever, we give that person a lot more grace than what they deserve.
Yes.
And so it's something missing within there also. For him, I will give it to you. I think there's a little bit of something, but
missing.
But
for her.
For him
and her, I think that it wasn't there for her.
Yeah,
I think in her messing up so bad and thinking, "Ooh, I may lose at this process," it's brought her to a different mind frame.
Yeah,
but I don't think she was fully attracted to him either.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so on that, remember when the girls sat down together, and I want to get your opinion on this. We haven't talked about this yet, but do you think that Lauren was missing his cues? Or do you think she was kind of putting on for the girls? Because she she did admit that they had, a setback, or I'm not exactly sure how she put it, but she mentioned that they had, a pretty heavy conversation. She didn't give the details of it. But it still seemed like she was holding it out there that they were like doing well. And I don't know if she did that because they are perceived by the group as doing well, or because she actually believes that herself. I felt like she was just putting on for them.
I think she was putting on a little bit. I mean, when things are going right in most of our relationships, until it's really, really bad, we don't really disclose Just how things are kind of going awry until things are really, really bad again. So yeah, I think that's what she was trying to do. Not really tell everybody what's going on per se within their relationship, what she said and how he took it. No, she didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So things are going well. We're still communicating. We did have a small little setback, but we're working on it. This is let me just give you the general thing of it. So I think that. But I just wanted to ask you too, with the whole thing of the redskin comment.
Yeah.
Should that be? You can't. I know you can't set it for him. It's on each and every person's, thing. But should that be the unforgivable sin?
Maybe. I don't know. See, that's the tough thing. Hey guys, sorry about that baby break. My husband was asking me, was the unfortunate comment that Lauren made on last week's episode like the end all, I guess, to everything? I don't know. I mean, we don't have the answers to that, right? And a couple of you chimed in your comments, letting us know, some thoughts about that and things of that nature. I mean, we just can't say. Every person, like you said, is an individual, and they take the amount of offense that they take to whatever it is. And unfortunately, in our society, although they are the original people of here, most of us are very uneducated when it comes to, their history, even more so than our own. We're less educated about it because percentage-wise, there are so few.
Yes.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Most of us don't know anybody. I shouldn't say most of us, but we certainly don't know anybody of Native American descent more than the 2 or 3% that any of us may be.
Yeah, exactly. I said in a previous video, I know none. As long as I've lived in the United States, I don't know any, and so my level of understanding may not be the level of what it should or ought to be. And I get that. However, I think when you are in a marriage, I do believe that a person, looking at the person for who the person is, should and always trump the culture that the person is coming from. And so, again, what you said, I don't think that Lauren was saying and laughing out of malice, And so, with that being said, I don't think she looks down upon his culture.
No, I don't think that at all.
So he should recognize that.
But I don't know. I don't know, because I feel like if someone says something that level of insensitive to us, as Black people, as African Americans, however it is exactly that you identify, we may or may not get over it. Especially someone else or someone from a different culture. We can say our own ignorant things within our own culture, and it's maybe a certain level of offensive, but it's something about it coming from outside, that it stings, and it may be difficult to get over. But if that's the case, like I've said in many different instances on this show in previous seasons, if something has happened and it's a deal breaker, break the deal. Let her off the hook, because she's never going to be able to make up for it. Why should she have to hang on and pay for it for the remainder of the 8 weeks? That's my position. If he's past it, he's past it. If you're going to stay, just like we've said before, if you are in a relationship and there's infidelity, if that's a deal breaker for you, break the deal. If it isn't, if you're going to try and get past it, you have to get past it. You can't let it linger continually, because the relationship can never go on positively if that's always a factor. So
I get it. I understand. But y'all know me. I'm a stickler for the commitment. I'm a stickler for there really shouldn't be a reason for you to get divorced. That's my whole thing. But if you're going to punish a person like it seems he's about to do, and he's kind of sort of doing, then it's time to call it.
Yeah. So, I mean, and now there's one thing. We talked about Lauren talking to the girls about, positive aspects of their relationship. But Orion seemed to present the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
He said marriage isn't necessarily everything that he thought it would be, but Lauren was. Lauren was what like he wanted. And
do you think he was telling the truth?
No, I don't. I mean, I feel like her personality, I like the maturity of both of them, actually. I mean, I do feel like there's certain things that he's handling poorly, and we'll get to that in a minute. But, you know, in the way that they approach conflict, in the way that he talks about, we're going to talk through these things, I like that because he is young. You know, he's 27 years old. So for him to have kind of a conflict resolving personality, I like.
It's one thing to say something.
It's
a total nother thing to actually put it in practice. And so he can know something cognitively.
Yeah.
But to actually work through it and put in the hard work and actually do it, you're just talking. You're just saying things. You know what to say, but you obviously don't know how to carry it through. So, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he's trying, and I definitely see Lauren putting it into practice as best she can. We don't know exactly how she would be if she was on the receiving end of an insult. You know, maybe that would be worse, and maybe we're seeing that. Maybe we're going to see that, you know, in the following episode.
Yeah.
But, you know, that brings us to the conversation that they had at dinner, which it was crazy. It how much it shifted.
Yeah.
Maybe not as crazy as I'm suggesting, because like I said, I read Orion's energy as being still kind of negative toward her.
Yeah.
So I don't know, again, if this was one of those situations where he was looking for a reason to kind of give himself an out. So they're talking about sex. Of course, this is something that Lauren initiated, or seemingly, at least the way they edited it.
Yeah.
You know, she brings it up. They're talking about details and specifics.
Yeah, they get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, or at least she is.
Yeah.
And I'm still reading him as to being like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. Not really committed to, like, you know what I mean? Let's be honest, like you start talking to a man about sex and you haven't had sex with him before, they be into it. You know, they're like, oh yeah. They want to hear more and more. It's like you could tell, like, the wheels are turning, they're playing it in there. So, I mean, I didn't get that from Orion at all. It seemed uncomfortable. It seemed like that conversation might have been coached by the, I don't know, production staff. Like, they might have been standing by like, come on, Orion, say something. You know, because she's talking about sex, and he was like, okay, well, how does that start? Like, you know how it starts. Quit playing with me.
Well, I guess it starts with how she said, I see you performing fellatio. And me and my wife kind of chuckled because, of course, that's not the correct term. And my wife is a stickler for correct terms. And so, how did you feel, baby? You know, when she said fellatio?
So, like, maybe that was a Freudian slip. Maybe she envisions him actually performing fellatio or something. Has he done it? We don't know. But he can't do it to her. At least with the parts we think she has.
Yeah.
Right? So, that's the wrong term. Y'all may or may not know that. If you don't, I'll just say that's not the right term. The term for the women is cunnilingus, but we're not even going to go any farther than that because it's kind of an icky conversation. Anyway.
This is a family channel. So,
right. So, yeah, but I mean, it seems like he's trying to be at least moderately receptive to the conversation. And do you feel like in her, I don't know, accelerating the sexual conversation, like that was kind of another way of her trying to, like, settle everything?
Without a doubt.
Like, okay, if we have sex, then we're definitely past this negative little blip that we had in the relationship. I think that's the wrong way to approach it. Because I already feel like the power dynamic has shifted between them in terms of where, you know, a woman stands at the outset of a relationship. Because of that offensive comment, I feel like it's really put her on the chase, and it's putting him, like, in the pursued column, sort of, and it's just a bad balance right now. And I feel like if they have not had this bad conversation about sex, and then they went ahead and did it, it would have shifted the power dynamic maybe even more.
Yeah. If it would have carried through, it definitely wouldn't have been, I don't think, a recovery for the relationship. But I think that's what she's trying to do. She's trying to heal this relationship on her own, and
with her loins,
and interjecting this whole sex talk because she wants to get back to where they started.
Yeah,
it just started. Everything is new.
Yeah,
and so either well, I think her best bet, she didn't do it, and I hope going forward that possibly she does do it. But I think you just say, hey, I made a mistake. I've asked you to forgive me. It doesn't seem like you're forgiving me. So where do we go from here? Because I can't grovel enough. I can't say I'm sorry enough. I can't throw up sex and have sex with you enough to get you past what you need to get past. So where are we going from here? Because I've already done what I could do. And so, hey, are you going to forgive me or aren't you? Are you going to put your big boy drawers on or aren't you?
I think she kind of tried to do that. She said something, or he proactively said something. I'm not exactly sure. You guys let us know if you remember exactly how this conversation went down. But where he said she didn't destroy the relationship.
That's what he said.
And
I'm noticing he's good. He's a good talker.
Yeah, he says the right things. He hits the right notes. All right, guys, one more baby break. No, what we were saying is we're shifting to the conversation about sex that they had a little more deeper than the fellatio comment. And of course, that is the conversation about how long it's been since you had sex. So Orion's talking about how, he was looking for a wife, but he told the experts he wasn't necessarily looking for her to be ready to have sex immediately. It had been a long time for him. He's trying to place that value on sex really high, which I don't have a problem with. I think people should value sex pretty highly in relationships, and I think we don't as a society value it enough.
Amen, sister.
But when he said it had been a year and a half for him, I was a little bit shocked. How did you feel about that?
No, I wasn't really too shocked about that, about the year and a half part. Not to say that he's a beacon of morality or anything like that. He's just a strange kind of guy for me, he comes across very strange to me. It's hard for me to kind of understand who he is as a person, understand his sexuality and things of that sort.
Right. Difficult to read.
I don't know any man that talks about penis size with other men, and he did that.
He's still on this.
So I don't get it. And then you want to hold her to a different type of standard to me.
He's strange for me as well. But I don't know. I just somehow, I know he's not necessarily a typical guy, but you don't expect guys to say, oh, I've been a year and a half without having sex, and then I don't hand myself out to people as he. But I mean, I'm getting that out of order. The thing is that, of course, in response to him saying how long it had been for him, since he had last had sex, Lauren is trying to share. She's taking it light. She's not thinking she's about to walk into some quicksand here. And goes and says, well, it's been a little bit more recent for me. He asked her how recent. You could kind of read his face. If you slow it down, we kind of paused it. And he was like, you could feel the judgment and condemnation about to come down. And he asked her, how long it's been. And she's like, 2 months to the day. Ha, ha, ha. And it's the immediate, an immediate look on his face he's off put by that. Okay, guys, hopefully that was the last baby break of this video. But we're talking about Lauren. We're talking about her being condemned, seemingly, by Orion as soon as she says that it's been just 2 months since she had sex. So I'm wondering, from a guy's point of view, what would have been an appropriate amount of time? When Keisha Knight Pulliam asked Orion in the after party, he didn't have an answer for that, which makes you kind of believe nothing would have been good enough. So that's tough. That's tough. And I feel bad for Lauren because I feel like she was just trying to be open. She seems to be one of those people that laughs in uncomfortable moments, maybe.
Yeah.
That's just her, personality, her coping mechanism or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But, she's making it light and he's not taking it light at all. And it was like the last thing that she needed to have happen after she's like throwing herself out as much as she possibly can to connect with him was for one of the ways that she's trying to reach out and connect with him to be like smacked down, by him. And I think it was a big blow.
It was a big blow. There's no other way she could have took it other than rejection.
Slut shaming, as
yes.
Orion's sister said.
Yes, he totally rejected her.
Yeah.
And now,
right, for him to say sex, it took sex off the table. Tell me, what does that mean? I mean, I have never heard a guy take sex off the table. Sex is always part of the menu. But no, I mean, honestly, would that mean forever? Does that mean, like, what exactly, how is anybody supposed to take that in a way where you can progress? Does it mean, like, for the time being, I'm not ready to talk about it? He's like, that I'm very uncomfortable.
Yeah. There's so much to unpack there. I don't think we probably have to do another video, to be honest with you. But there's two things I want to say. If he is judging her about which is like he is, he's judging her and condemning her for her decisions before he met her, and before she had a solid understanding that she was even going to be on the show. And so it's unfair for him to have that particular judgment and especially condemnation on her because he put himself in alignment for this particular show and for have someone to pick someone for him.
And you were going to take what you get.
You have to take what you're going to get. It's not like he went out to the local church, and he met someone with the same particular set of values that he says that he has.
Right.
And so, bro, you got to take the bitter with the sweet. Now, on the other side of that, we live in a culture where pretty much sexually anything goes, and so there is no judgment and there is no condemnation. However, there is. And because men are going to push women into sex every day of the week, twice on Sunday, okay? But at the end of the day, if this man or whoever the guy who pushed this woman into sex or men that push these women into sex don't be with them and they decide to have another relationship down the road and then the man finds out, oh, you have me? What's your body count? Oh, no, absolutely not. So here it is. We think that there are no judgments. We think that there are no condemnation. However, it is because a lot of men are looking for a higher set of values from a woman that they're going to say, I'm going to wife you up and we're going to be in a committed relationship. At the end of the day, it is what it is. Is it a trap? Yeah, it is a trap,
Yeah,
but I think women
sounds awful.
Eventually, hopefully, God willing, women are kind of start to understand that it's a trap because,
we've talked about this before in different kinds of videos where, women are in a bad spot and unless they could all band together at once, there's always going to be, that problem's not going to lessen. Yeah. We can do sidebars or any other kind of video on that because we could talk about that for ages. But, I wonder what in that was as off-putting. Okay, guys, so I lost Sale because he had to tend to the baby. I'm just going to close it out. We were finishing up talking about Lauren and Orion and the way that conversation went south. And we see from the previews, which we usually don't do, go ahead and talk about how, we think is going to play out. That's the last thing that we were going to talk about anyway. And the reason that Lauren had the meltdown that she did. And I really think because, as we said earlier, she was just at her wit's end. She put everything into this last day. She thought it had been a good day. When they talked about it alone, she said that had been the best day so far. And for it to go from sugar to just that quickly on her saying that she had just had sex 2 months ago, I think she's given out. So our question was, do you guys think that they are actually going to be another couple to get a premature divorce? it certainly kind of looks that way. At least that was Sale's viewpoint on that. I kind of felt like because they both were very committed to the process, that they won't want to lose it that quickly. I mean, I don't think that Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pia, what's her name? Pia. Dr. Pia and Pastor Cal can do anything to salvage it for yes at decision day. But I feel like they're going to see it through. So let us know your thoughts about that. And with that, I will go and see what's going on with this baby. And you guys take care. Please like, share, subscribe, and drop your comments below. And we'll talk to you soon.